We talked before about good reasons to give our tithes and offerings back to God as a way of honoring God, as a way of acknowledging His ownership of everything, as a way of saying thank you for all the ways that God has blessed us, especially in Christ, and for the good of our neighbor and the spread of the gospel. Lots of good reasons to give back to God. There are also bad reasons that we should avoid. If these are your motivations for giving, I think we'd say, please don't give. Here are some bad reasons to give.
So the first bad reason to give is to try to earn God's favor, to try to get Him to like you, to earn brownie points with God. We know from the scriptures that it's by grace that we're saved, through faith. It's the gift of God. It's not by our works so that we can boast. And the real problem with trying to give to get God to like you is you're only giving back to Him what He's already given you. You can't outgive God, and everything that we have is from Him. So we cannot earn His favor by our good works, by our tithes, by our offerings. We do those as a response to the goodness that He's already shown us.
He already loves us. He wants us to give with a cheerful heart, he tells us through the Apostle Paul. He doesn't want us to give. Another bad reason is to give out of guilt or out of fear. We shouldn't give because the church leaders are telling us the budget has a shortfall. We shouldn't give because we feel bad about ourselves if we don't. Guilt and fear are not the reasons that should drive us to give. We give again because of the great love and generosity of God, that we reflect that back to Him and to one another. Not out of guilt, not out of fear, but in joy and thankfulness.
And then finally, we don't give in a way that would get others to look at us and say, wow, that person is a really faithful Christian. They must really love God. Look at how much they're sacrificing. We want to give, as Jesus says, without the right hand knowing what the left hand is doing. We don't need to let anybody know what we're giving except God and us. Uh, there's a great joy in that because we know that our Father, who we honor in secret, will reward us, and it's between us and between Him. And that's why in our church there's only one person in our church who knows what you give. We don't publicize it. We don't talk about it at our leadership meetings and things like that. Pastor Randall and I don't even know what you give, and that's a good thing that only one person knows, because we don't want it to be a hypocritical thing where we're giving to impress each other, or we're giving to help make others think that we're extra super Christians or something like that. Those are not good reasons to give. And rather, going back to last week's video, we want to give because God is so good to us, and because we want to further His kingdom and be faithful and honor Him as our God.